Everybody, welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. Hope you guys are having a productive week so far. I'm still kind of battling a bit of a cold, feeling better since yesterday, but still a little raspy. You can tell I've still got a little bit of stuff going on. So I hope all of you are doing well. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you watching the channel, subscribing if you haven't subscribed. Most importantly, sharing the videos with family, friends, and loved ones, so we can continue to spread the word about what's happening with this crumbling economy. So again, thank you. Appreciate each and every one of you. I do my best to respond to comments, time permitting. Again, last few days, been real busy at the office and not feeling too great, so I've been a bit sporadic with that. Let's jump right into it today. One of the articles I want to share with you, I actually printed out to share with you 2 days ago, had to do with a glitch in the stock market. It affected about, I believe it says about 40 stocks. But, you know, if you're a market participant, it's not like the old days where you used to, if you bought shares of stock, you would receive the actual share certificate in the mail. And you actually held a physical piece of paper that said, I own certain shares of stock. I remember when my daughters were much younger, my dad would buy them shares of stock, I believe in Walmart and a couple different Qualcomm, a couple different corporations, large corporations, and he would actually request these share certificates to be sent to them. And to this day, I have those sitting in the safe. But that's not really the way it happens. These are all digits on a screen. And what does that mean? It means that it is susceptible, like any system, to a malfunction, whether that be a very temporary malfunction or a longer term malfunction or even semi or permanent malfunction. So look, caution. I mean, if you guys have all of your quote unquote assets are wrapped up in digits on a screen, this is something that I think that you should be paying attention to, because I do try to share on this channel often that it makes some sense, not financial advice, but makes some sense to have some assets that you're holding outside of this digital system. And that includes assets outside of your bank account too, because those are also digits on a screen, just like shares of stock are showing in your Schwab account or whatever it is. So do you have cash on hand? Do you have enough cash on hand that you could pay your bills and negotiate transactions and buy food and all those kinds of things, put gasoline in your vehicles if the system was down, if you were locked out, or if, let's say your accounts temporarily or even not so just magically went to zero? Do you have some hard assets like metals that you can get to, that are in your possession, that are highly liquid, that you could also transfer into cash if need be? Let me share the story with you. This was from CNBC, and it was on June 3rd. So 2 days ago this happened. And what it said is the New York Stock Exchange technical issue is impacting some stock prices, incorrectly showing Berkshire Hathaway down 99%. This is a technical issue. The New York Stock Exchange on Monday caused the A-class shares of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway to appear to be down nearly 100%. Trading was halted in those shares, as well as in Barrick Gold, and says New Scale Power, which had also seen dramatic falls. Actually, it said about 40 stocks were impacted by this. And, I was actually checking the markets when this happened, or I saw the news story come out on CNBC, and I quickly pulled up the chart on Barrick Gold, and the ticker system is GLD. Or maybe it's GOLD, but I took a screenshot of this at that moment. It was at 6:59 a.m. on Monday, 2 days ago. Check this out. Hopefully you guys can see that it's not coming across reversed. But do you see that? It showed that Barrick Gold was down 98.5375%, and that shares were worth 25 cents a share. So I just thought that captured, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Now in this case, look, it was a glitch. The system was restored. I read something yesterday that some traders saw the Berkshire Hathaway stock plunge, and so they quickly went in and bought a bunch of shares up for like $600 a piece or something. Of course, the NYSE has announced that it's reversing all that. Nobody gets to retain shares that they purchased when they had fallen that much. But there will come a time, and this is not doom and gloom, but I believe there will come a time where this kind of stuff will happen and the systems will not necessarily be restored, or they won't be restored to the same value levels that they were, let's say, when everything went dark or started to plunge. So look, how do you guard yourself against it? If you have all your net worth in digital assets, and that means things that only reflect on digits on a screen, I think you've got to be careful of that. Next article I want to share with you relates to a restaurant. Actually, I have one just one block here from my office. It's Rubios. It's Rubios Coastal Grill. It's really, I think it's a California, for the most part, California-based restaurant. And there are some in some other western states. But I guess they're filing bankruptcy. I was going to share with you the news, I think a couple of days ago came out, that they were going to close 48 locations. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to go by my local location and see if they're closing that one down. And then today I see that not only are they closing locations, but the entire restaurant chain is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy now, saying that they can't afford to continue operations. I actually did go by Rubios today. They have a super good chopped salad that's very healthy that you can get blackened mahi-mahi on. And I regularly, if I eat out, I don't eat out very much for lunch, but when I do, that's in my rotation. I'll go right over there. It's not the most inexpensive salad, but I can get, this really, what I think is pretty good quality fish on this chopped salad, and it's a healthy lunch. So anyway, let me jump into the story. It says the San Diego-born chain is seeking Chapter 11 protection as a precursor to selling the business, but current outlets, it says, will remain open according to Rubios. The Rubios Coastal Grill, which began in San Diego more than 40 years ago and once boasted close to 200 restaurants, announced Wednesday it's filing for bankruptcy protection with the goal of selling the business. It says Rubios locations will remain operating while the Chapter 11 bankruptcy process proceeds. There was a quote from Rubios, says, Rubios Coastal Grill is one of the legendary fast casual chains with a strong and loyal customer following in its communities, said Nicholas Rubin, Chief Restructuring Officer of Rubios Coastal Grill, in a statement. He says, despite the company's best efforts to right-size the company, the continued challenging economic conditions have negatively impacted its ability to meet the demands of its debt burden. So another casualty, very sad circumstances. Once a 200 location restaurant. So the Chapter 11 petition filed on Wednesday in Delaware states that Rubios Restaurants has assets of between $10 and $15 million. While liabilities, listen to this, while liabilities, says, are estimated to be between $100 million and $500 million. The number of creditors of the restaurant may be as high as 25,000 creditors. So too bad to see another casualty of this economic collapse that we're witnessing every day. Yes, there was a comment also that they've suffered from the high minimum hourly wage laws in the state of California, but this didn't just happen overnight. That much debt, again, that many creditors. Next story and last story. Oh, by the way, that story came out today. If any of you want to pull it up, out of the San Diego Union Tribune, that's today. And the last information I want to share with you is about I thought this was a very good article encapsulating the recent economic numbers that are being released across this country. And it's important that we all pay attention to this. You might get bits and pieces of this daily or on different channels, but I thought this did a really good job of encapsulating it. It's from Market Watch, and this came out today. And it says, you need to prepare your finances for a recession. And the article goes on to say, Tuesday's figures showed that yesterday showed the number of job openings in the United States plunged by nearly 300,000 between March and April. Job openings are volatile month to month, it says, but the trend is unmistakable, said Bill Adams, chief economist for Comerica Bank. They're down 4.1 million from their March 2022 peak, a decline of 1/3. The Atlanta Federal Reserve's real-time estimate of U.S. economic activity is also plunging. It says it fell by 1/3 from 2.7% to 1.8% in a matter of days. A month ago, it was more than 4%. So we're having a rapid acceleration, folks, of this collapse. It says the Chicago Purchasing Managers Index, another major economic barometer, is now at levels seen during the early 2020 pandemic crash, the 2008 global financial crisis, and other economic slumps. This reading has been consistent with recession 100% of the time in the past, according to David Rosenberg, made this statement on X. April's U.S. retail sales were lower than a year earlier once you strip out inflation. Ditto for industrial production, the article says. The latest jobs figures were at half of Wall Street's expectations. Probably worse still, it says, the figures tracking underemployment have been deteriorating for a year. And we talk about this, real personal incomes, when you exclude government transfers, are now flat. So incomes are not rising. We know costs are rising. We know that jobs are declining. It's a terrible, terrible recipe for disaster. So as history shows, we humans, and this is the point, because the stock market closed up pretty high today. The NASDAQ went on a huge rally. This NVIDIA stock, again, is bolstering. Just a few stocks are really bolstering up the NASDAQ. But you have this general feeling in market participants that it's a risk-on environment. There's time to be buying shares. Some friends of mine this morning were saying that they believe actually stocks are relatively cheap. Again, I'm not a market analyst. I find that frankly hard to believe that in this environment, when these markets are at all-time highs, that they're still cheap by any metric. If you can even find anymore what fair market value even is. But the article concludes by saying history shows we humans have a terrible tendency to be the most bullish and to take on the most risk right at the worst moments. With stocks recently hitting a new peak, it's little surprise, it says, to learn that most recent survey of global money managers found them at their most bullish since late 2021, and said that was the last peak. Well, look, everyone is always bullish when you have a blow-off top until they're not. So what do? I mean, hedge yourself. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. We talk about general parameters of paying down debt, not taking on new debt, especially things that you can't afford to be purchasing. Be smart with finances and have some stuff set aside, not only cash reserves, some metals, things of that nature, assets that are outside of the digital system, but also we talk about this, food and water, security, preps, guys. You got to have some of this stuff, because we just don't know when there's going to be a major supply chain disruption, when something is going to happen. It is definitely feels like and has felt like for some time the calm before the storm. And look, if nothing really happens, if this is all just just chatter and nothing bears out and the markets continue to rise and the real estate doesn't continue to fall and all these rosy outcomes become a reality, I believe it's highly unlikely that's the case. Okay, so what? So you've got some extra cash set aside, you have some extra food, some extra water, you got your security in order. So with that being said, I'll leave it there today, about 14 and a half minutes. I am going to get a workout in this afternoon, try to get back into my regular routine. Appreciate all of you. Hope you're doing the same thing, watching the diet, getting those workouts in, walking, doing some strength training. We need to continue to improve our health, our fitness, and our overall physical conditioning. All right. Hope you all have a great afternoon. I'll do my best to touch base in the next day or so. Talk to you soon. Bye.